Today, I'm very happy to welcome and introduce to you Thich Dot. And Thich Dot and I have been friends for about the last 10 years or so. When I met him, and he's been coming here to the Earth and Spirit Center frequently for various courses. And actually, we have taken a field trip to his monastery in Corydon, Indiana. So he has a monastery in Corydon, just outside of Corydon. It's in the hills. The monastery of the 10,000 Buddhas. And if you've never been there, it's a wonderful day trip. They have a beautiful ground there. You go up this gravel road up a hill, and all of a sudden, you feel like you're in Thailand. I mean, who would have thought in the cornfields of southern Indiana there would be a Buddhist monastery? I mean, remarkable. Beautiful statues, beautiful meditation hall, accommodations as well for small retreats. It's a lovely, lovely place. So perhaps we can work out a time when we can go up there again to schedule a field trip from the Earth and Spirit Center to go up there. But Thich Dot divides his time now between Louisville and Houston. He has a monastery and then also a temple on Cane Run Road in southern Louisville on Cane Run.
No, on Newcut.
On Newcut, excuse me. I'm sorry, Newcut. And they're building a bigger temple there as well now. They're just getting ready to construct a new one in that area. He also has taught at Bellarmine and at Indiana University Southeast, but currently he's teaching on the faculty of University of Houston as well. So he's here for the summertime between his sessions at the University of Houston, getting the new monastery or getting the new temple built here in Louisville. So we're very honored and very happy to welcome you. I know that Thich Dot has been a teacher for many people, helping us learn meditation. He's also been an inspiring leader for the Vietnamese community here in Louisville as well. And his topic today is going to be on the proper attitudes to bring to meditation. So it's very practical guidance. The attitudes can be very helpful for us as we begin to meditate, as we explore meditation. So please help me welcome Thich Dot. We're very happy to have you. Thank you. I want to apologize. I just told him I have to leave. I've got to go to a funeral in Chicago, so I want to get in there before rush hour. So I'm going to have to leave in about. I'm going to be in the car driving out in about a half hour. So excuse me that I'm not going to be able to stay with you all today.
Thank you. Thanks, Reverend Joel, and thanks, Sandra. Yeah, we had a wonderful relationship with Reverend Joel and this center for many years, probably around a decade. Not 1 year, but I guess most every year I come down here, or sometimes he take some of you to come up to our monastery in Corydon, who've been up there before. Or some of you. And we just discussed that, especially late fall this year, if Reverend Joe and the center could make any kind of arrangement to have some kind of meditation retreat up there, either camping overnight, whichever way to do. It's up to Reverend and the center. But again, it's just lovely for me to come down here again to share with you my own experience and knowledge about meditation. And I know that most of you are experienced meditators, so I'd like to share some of my ideas I think that may be helpful. And when Reverend Joe and this emailed to me asking about the topic, at that time I had the topic about how to meditate effectively, but on the course of my preparation, I found out that this, I think the topic would be more practical, the proper attitudes toward meditation or why you do meditation. But before I go into this topic, I have to introduce myself again if you don't know me. So this is my CV. I got my bachelor's degree at Penn State University when I was layman, an electrical engineer, but I switched different realm to a spiritual realm. I got my MA degree. I went back to see from 1990 to 2009. That's why for a while I went back to school to get my MA, and I just finished my PhD degree last year. And actually, when I was a monk, at that time I thought that I would let go of all of worldly or secular education. But later on, somehow when it was around this era, Bellarmine University was the first university I taught the Buddhist introduction to Buddhism and meditation in the non-credit programs. And later on, I taught at different schools like IUS, UL, and so forth, other non-credit. But later on, I thought that it's worthy for me to go back to school. That's why I decided in the year 2009, I went back to school to get the degree. And officially now I'm teaching at IUS and University of Houston. So IUS, I teach online, and University of Houston, I teach online and face-to-face too. That's why I just been back here only for the summer. I have to go back to Houston to teach again and sometime in August. So that is my short bio. So let me go back to my topic today, proper attitudes when doing meditation. Before I move on, let me ask you, how many of you do meditation at least 1 hour per day? Alright, okay, that's too high for you, right? About 30 minutes. Wow. About 10 minutes. Okay. So, you know, right, regardless of traditions, regardless of who we are, meditation now is so important in our life. Whichever way we want to utilize this. At IUS and at University of Houston, I taught that class mindfulness and its multidisciplinary applications. This applies in every field, in every profession. Education, business, politics, spirituality, psychology. It's all kind of fields, all kind of professions, it's field that we can apply meditation. Because why? Everything comes from the mind. If you calm our mind down, everything will be fine. I used to tell the younger one, watch out for your monkey mind. Our mind jump here and there. That's why we need to have some tools to transform our mind whichever way. Illustrate that in our traditions, in our Buddhist tradition, our Christian Catholic tradition, yes, we have the faith in Buddha, Jesus, and so forth. But beside the faith, we need to have some tools to transform our own mind. Besides, we get the support from our spiritual beings. So that's why meditation is so important. And the reason why it's not changing the topic is but it's similar. But the reason why I pick up this topic because I think most of you have been doing meditation for many years, and I don't want to repeat again how to do meditation, how to follow your breath, how to do the walking meditation, and so forth. I think you're familiar with that kind of teaching and practice, and that's why I think it's proper attitude is so important for what we do in meditation. Without this kind of attitudes, it's not easy for us to calm the mind down. Yeah. So before I move on, let me ask you, how many of you have attended some kind of, MBSR, MBCT, ICT, DBT? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
How many of you have that kind of certification? No, but you attend, right? How many of you attend that? Oh, few of you. So probably you know this, especially the MBSR. You know what MBSR is stand for? Mindfulness based stress reduction. You know, but that is in the I just saw there's a paper over there, right? MBCT, mindfulness based cognitive therapies. ICT is not an ICT test, but acceptance and commitment therapies, and so forth. So I don't talk about that much. But this is related to the proper attitudes, and I'd like to discuss again today. Yeah. So in the MBSR, the mindfulness-based research, they have they list out 7 attitudes. You can familiar with that? How many of you know that kind of attitude? Okay, that's what I think this is better for us to review. Okay, let's see here. Okay, here it is my presentation today. So I think it's pretty much to do with the mind. If we have this kind of attitude, it's much easy for us to work on our meditation. First one, the value is number one important to you. Have you ever heard about this before? No. How many of you? You raise your hand, please. If you have, okay. The asthma, of course, you know, right? Asthma, you know, right? Just we will discuss about this. Okay. Forgiving, trustful mind, continuous mind, non-striving, acceptance, let go, getting more mind from passive mind, and here the last one, commitment. I think it's overall. It is very important attitudes that we need to have. Otherwise, it's not easy. For example, if you sit down and start to meditate, what happens if some image of several people that got into your nerves before, that you could not get rid of their image in your mind? There's no way for you to concentrate that. So forgiveness is so important. Of course, it's universal in any directions. I just want to give that example. Yeah. So again, let's be more now. Value. Now here. Okay. Now, what our value of life? Will I call you? A little bit. You like to listen? Yeah. What do you want your life to be about? Here, yes, we see the place of the people who pass away, right? What we want to achieve for our life. At the end of our life, we have some kind of achievement, accomplishment. What we want to do? What the purpose of our life here? Helping our children, helping our community, helping our society, and so forth and so forth. What we want to achieve? What the value that we want to put in this lifetime while we're still alive? What kind of direction we want to choose? Spiritual life, education, and so forth. Of course, every one of us have different goals. Taught to values and locally constrained. There are some new value with your field. You need to recognize your value. Yeah, of course, everyone has different value of life. Sorry. Value, what is getting in the way of value thinking? When we live in some avoidance, we want to avoid anything that may obstruct. It may be too much for us. We don't have clear value, clear vision, clear goal for our life. Here, now, this direction. We want to build up strong family relations. We want to build up marriage. We want to be good parents. We want to build up our friendship. We want to have great jobs. We want to have great education and so forth. We want to develop our spiritual life. We want to help our communities. We want to be healthy and so forth. This is the general value or role that we want, or everyone of us like to have. For example, some of us may
like to be with Jesus Christ after we pass away, and this present life. Some of us like to be great businessmen, great educators, and so forth. So that's the value we want to have in our life, right? But how does it relate to our practice of meditation, mindfulness practice? How does it relate? For example, if you want to work in your spiritual life, yes, meditation enhance that value, right? The more we calm down our mind, the more we closer to our God, our Jesus, or whichever way. Or if you focus on, let's say, your marriage, right? Okay, when we do meditation, we know ourselves more, and of course we closer, feel comfortable, and recognize the friendship that we have with our spouse. We want to build up that strong marriage with the enhancement of meditations. You got my points? Or if we value our job, our enrollments, or our business, yes, we do meditation so that it would helpful for us. It would enhance the growth of our business, the stable of enrollments. That's I just want to give you some idea. So again, in life, every one of us need to have some kind of value of life. Need to have some kind of, you can say, goal, so that right before we pass away, we may feel that oh, I have accomplished something to that goal, and my life has some value. Remember, even especially for the young people, when they just got into college, they don't know what they're doing because they don't know the value of life. At least most of us here, right, we are from 30 upright. So we've gone through all kinds of life experience, and we know that living without some kind of value is an empty shell in our life. Is that right? Yeah. So like again, like if you are teachers, yes, the value of your life is to transmit your knowledge and experience to younger generation, and you enjoy that kind of value whenever you think about the student. Is that right? So that's why I'm talking. I want to mention about this one is the value. It's so important. So before we do, otherwise, sometimes if you sit there, we don't know what we're supposed to do. It's meaningless. If our life is meaningless, it's empty shell. We would not like to pursue anything. But if we have some value there, we pursue to that kind of value. You understand my point, right? It's so important, right? So as we recognize our value of life, we work on in any field, in any activities, even in any thinking. The next one, of course, the next step when we start to do meditation, we need to relax ourselves. Imagine that I think most of us has this experience. Let's say imagine that after a day of busy in business, at work, at school, and so forth, you're so tired, physically, mentally. Could you sit still when you go back from work? Could you sit on the spot? Could you sit still, or you doze off? That's mean at least. Let's say when you get back from work, right? You need to relax yourself physically and mentally. That's called the preparation for meditation too. Otherwise, if you're so nervous, if so tired, there's no way for you to focus on it easily. If your body is so tired, yeah, you doze off easily. That's why we need to have some kind of relaxation before we do meditation. You see that. And of course, you can lie down, right? You play this part, right? And
absorb the flow, whichever. Okay, the next one is present mind. Of course, everyone know that. In doing meditation, to have present mind is so important. Now and now. Right? Not the past, not the future. And we know that, right? When in the past, most time we read something and we say, oh, I wish that I could do this and that, but too late. Past. And future is coming. Well, of course, we need to make some kind of arrangement first. But if we look so much about future, expectation about future, there's no way for us to compromise. Can you see here? Can you see? What is that? Oh, it's just my mind. It's all kinds of, right? It's all over here. Mindful or mindful, right? We have to be with the present moment. Yeah, it's so important. And the next one, I think we hear that, right? Awareness of what is taking place right now. Freedom from past, as it says, freedom from past failure, sense of excitement and opportunities, sense of appreciation for everyone who know right here, now. And when we pass this present moment, the present moment, we cannot get back. We know that. So that's why, especially this morning, we will be blessed we come together to share our knowledge of practice meditation or whichever way. It's so important. And after that, after 12 o'clock, everyone go back to our house, or we do our own business, and we will not get back here, probably not a year. Okay, so this present mind is so important. And the next one, yes, suspending judgment. Just whatever coming up is still important. Now, I think last few times when they came here, I talked about no judgmental thought. It starts with our breath. Probably most of you know, right? When we start our breath, we just follow our breath in and out without any kind of judgment about the breath. Whether it's long or short, deep or shallow, we just follow. That is training our mind to reverse the way that we used to have. Let's say, whenever we go out to talk or to socialize with anyone else on the street or at work, most of the time we tend to be in either pose, like or dislike. We make a judgment, what we call first impression. Is that right? Either we like that person or dislike that person. We just went back and forth. That's a problem. Right? If we like the person, we have tendency to attack. If we dislike that person, we have tendency to reject or stay away. So, it starts with our breath. We train ourselves to reverse the pattern so that we can remain calm, remain peaceful, to be in that middle way, right? In the equilibrium ways of the pendulum, we not to swing back and forth between like this, like just stay in the middle and start with our breath. Can follow our breath in the natural way. We don't need to make any judgment. Recognize us in and out, whether it's long or short, deep or shallow. Just accept that. Impartial witness to our own experience with our breath, our sensation, our body, and even with our feeling too. Not to the stream of just mind, because every day, whenever we read the news on the internet or on newspaper and so forth, all kind of judgment, good, bad, and so forth. We've been bombarded with that. We've been indoctrinated with that kind of judgment. So that's why in meditation we need to reverse that. So this is the important attitude that we should have in order to calm the mind. Otherwise, it's not easy. Here is no judgment. Mindfulness is like both non-judgmental and no judgment with respect to our thought, impulse, urge, desire, interest, and so forth. But sometimes, as human, yes, sometimes we need to make a judgment between good and bad. We cannot stop to think, oh, whenever someone carry the gun to this room, we cannot sit still. Right? Or if our children, they mess around with drugs, we need to stay out, tell them to say no,
don't invoke that. Because if you live in communities, in society, we have to have some kind of you can say that the general judgment, but still in meditation we need to reverse or let go of them so that they can be free, that we can be free of those kind of judgment. And yes, you are not your brain. Yeah. Okay, here. Good, bad, up, down, skill, right? No judgment. This is still one attitude. So, okay, again, non-judgmental is so important. That again, start with our feeling, with the observance of breath and so forth, so that whenever we deal with people, we're free. We're free from that type of judgmental thought. And we see them as the way they are, instead of how they dress, their clothes, how they talk to us, or based on their nationality, based on their religious background, and so forth. So if we are free of that kind of judgmental thought, we see them in the whole pictures instead of some angles only. So that's so important. And yes, with our training of meditation, we start with the breath. Without that kind of training, it's not easy, because as humans, we've been indoctrinated with kind of judgmental thought most of the time. So we need to reverse us with this one. Okay. And next one.
What does the cartoon say?
Yes.
What did the cartoon say?
Which one? This one?
No, the
No,
last
the
one.
last
Previous
one.
Which one?
On the
Down
bottom.
there on the
Oh.
bottom. There's nothing.
Nothing. Oh, this is the black field. It is some probably computer. Accident. This 2 months we're talking about.
There's nothing.
There's nothing on.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Let's watch that.
Let's
Excellent, let's watch that.
Okay, patience. Again, of course, most of us here know this kind of virtue, and we teach our children and our grandchildren about this virtue. This is universal. It's so important, right? Especially while we do meditation. Without patience, without intention, there's no way for us to recognize our mind, our thought in deeper and profound sense. Like let's say, if we just sit only a few minutes, there's no way for us to recognize the rhythm of our thought, right? Up, up and down, how we see our monkey mind jump here and there. So that's why the longer we sit, the better chance for us to recognize it. That's why, you know, in Buddhist traditions, especially the Zen traditions, in Zen traditions, many Zen masters, they sit days and days, weeks or even months, so that they can enter what called samadhi or jhana, or the meditative state of mind. And at that time, they could see many layers of our thoughts. So of course, it's required a lot of patience. Without patience, it's not easy. When we sit there, you know, sometimes because of our busy life, right? While we sit there, suddenly we have the thought, oh, I have to make a phone call to my friends. Oh, I have to send an email to my friends. Oh, I forgot this and that. And if we don't remind ourselves, okay, just sit still, forget that. Enjoy the present moment. We know we set up, let's say, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, and so forth for this meditation alone. And let's go up those things. So we could be focused easily. Otherwise, without patience, there's no way for us to see our mind in deeper sense. And plus, if we sit indoor, it's great. But if what happens if it's outdoor with mosquito, with fly, or sometimes at home, right? If you live alone, that's great. If while you meditation, somehow your spouse, your children, they turn on the television, the music, and so forth, right? Sometimes bother, and sometimes your pet, the dog, cat, they run around. Who used to meditate and your dog and cat come to sit on your lap. I have some friends, he's professor at UVL, he said most of the time when he sits, his dog cat will jump on his lap, lie down there, peacefully. So again, we have to be patient, those, and even while we sit there, somehow we feel that it's itchy, right? It's just, if we have some kind of allergy, right? Or if sometimes it's so painful, or our neck, our back, sometimes it's so tired, right? So we have to be patient with that. And of course, if it's too much, yes, it's better for us to go to rest, go to lie down. But if we can handle, it's great. And when you sit in meditation in cross-legged position, or you do, it's painful sometimes.
After a while.
You get used to that.
I do.
Oh, good. This is require a lot of patience then.
I tried to sit on the chair after years of sitting on the floor, and it just wasn't comfortable. I think because I started on the floor.
Yeah, if you get used of sitting in this position, we call lotus position, full lotus position, is in cross the leg. It's easy to stabilize your body, and that's the position that many Zen masters encourage us to have, so that we can enter samadhi easily, because it's like a triangle, right? Shape, right? Whether you look in any direction, front, back, left or right. So it's still stable, but of course it's required a lot of patience. It's because sometimes if you cross your leg here, like this one, it's painful, right? And that's why many people, when you think about meditation, first thing they think about pain. It's so painful for me to cross my leg. But I say, don't worry, if you don't sit in your full lotus, you can do half lotus or otherwise. Not lotus, that's okay. You can sit on the chair, that's fine. To control the mind is more important. That's the primary one. The body is just central concern. You can sit on the chair, on the floor, the sofa. It's up to you. Or you sit in that kind of what we call the Japanese style, right? You put your leg down. That's fine too. As much as you feel comfortable, but still, you need some kind of patience too, right? With the body and with the mind. Like I just told you, why we follow the breath. Somehow, I'm so boring. I need to make a call. I need to. Is that right? Be patient with your body. And be patient with your mind too. It's so important. Yeah. Without that, it's not easy. And sometimes, two things define you. You're patient when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have everything. And of course, patience it cannot be acquired overnight. It takes time. It takes time to build up. That's the virtue, right? And especially in meditation, we have to be patient with our body, our mind, our environment, other people, and so forth. In order to stay with that session, right? Whether it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30, or 1 hour. So that proper attitude we need to have. Next one, beginner mind. Anyone you recognize, most you recognize us. Why is that? Why beginner is so important? I usually tell the story that a professor went to visit a Zen master. I don't know whether you read this story yet. And this professor said, no, can you show me how to do meditation? And yes, the master said, okay, please sit down to have tea. All right, yes. So while they sat down and the Zen master poured the tea into the cup until the water spilled out. And it's still pouring the water. And the worshipper said, hey, the water is spilling on the table. So the Zen master poked the pot down and said, so there's your mind. You understand that? You understand what it means? If your mind full with knowledge, there's no way. There's no way to accept more.
You have to have this beginner mind, open mind, attitude to learn. That's why in Zen tradition, they say you have to have that kind of innocent mind or beginner mind, so that you could be receptive in any teaching. If you say, oh, I know everything. If you are a teacher, anyone of you are a teacher still? Or you are? Okay. When you go to school and you come to class and you're really ready to teach a student, as one student, some students say, oh no, I know already. What happened? They close their mind. They would not learn anymore. So that's why beginner mind is so important. We see things in the fresh eyes. In any kind of relationship too. Right, let's say, remember the first time that you met your spouse? It's so wonderful. That's all right. But what happened now? You know each other well. That's why it's good that I heard that sometimes people have what we call annual commitment. What would you call that one? They celebrate their what do you call that one? Renew the vows right away, right? We see each other in the fresh eyes. Otherwise, if you see each other in the all eyes, all face, what happened? Problem occur. Understand that? Yeah, it's just our form, and that works with our friends, the friends matter too. That's why sometimes people say it's easy for me to convince my friends, but it's not easy for me to deal with my family members. You know why? It's not easy to convince them any aspect of life. Why? Because they know your background, they know all your stuff, and so do you. So that's why again, it's easy. It's really important. Sitting in the fresh eye. Every section of meditation requires this kind of fresh eyes, fresh thought. If you remember, let's say you have some problem with your meditation last couple of days, and when you say, oh no, again, what happened? You get stuck again. Makes sense? But if you say, forget that, the present, we just start fresh. With 10 minutes, with 15 minutes, with now, that's okay. Just start fresh. If we have problems with any obstruction in the past few days, it's okay, just pass it past. We just start fresh. You understand that? It's with that attitude. It's easy for us to refresh our mind. It is easy to approach to or to practice that kind of meditation. Otherwise, if you think about how painful when you cross your leg, you understand that? It will be stigma that you would not have to sit anymore. It will be some kind of some kind of obstruction. So you have to see yourself afresh, physically, mentally. You will see other people when you deal with them too. It is so important. And every movement is a unique, right? Contain unique possibility. So every session of meditation is different. There's no two things are alike. So that's why beginner mind is so important. Now here, in beginner mind there's a many possibility. In this expert mind there's a few. Understand that, right? That analogy I get you that story, right? To be open-minded, to be fresh. Okay. The next one. Okay, here, of course, I just told you, forgiveness is one of the important factors that we need to have. And of course, it's universal in our life. We have all kinds of people who got in our nerves, who push our burden so many times that we could not handle, right? But again, look at here. Forgiveness means giving up all hope or bad past. No, past is just past. It's a gift to us. Okay, forgive others not because they deserve forgiveness, because you deserve peace. When you let go, when you forgive that other people mistake, you make that peace with yourself, and that's universal. Otherwise, it's tied up, right? It can tie ourselves out. When you sit there and we just think about that kind of people,
stop there, right? That image, it raises some kind of anxiety, some kind of anger, some kind of heartstream in your mind and body when you think about that person, right? So it's better to let them go. Otherwise, it's so harmful to ourselves and others. This is obstruction. There's no way for us to progress in our meditation session. And that's why forgiveness is so important. And again, this one, the next one is trust. We need to trust ourselves. Without this trust, it's not easy. In any circumstances, right, in our life, if we don't trust ourselves to do the work, there's no way for us to accomplish the goal. You know, right? If we don't trust ourselves how to drive a car on the street, on the road, it's not easy. I have some ladies, they're so frightened to ride on the freeway. Right? Of course, we need to have that kind of self-confidence in ourselves, whichever way we do. And we used to teach our children and young children with that kind of self-confidence. If someone has low self-esteem, it's not easy for them to do things in life. So that's why in meditation we trust ourselves that yes, for this session, it's not something of accomplishment. Yes, I can do it. I can calm my mind. I trust myself that I can calm my mind. I can have that kind of peacefulness with this session. It's so important. And trust in your own authority and intuition. And even you make mistake along the way, that's right. That's okay too. And here, I believe in me. Self-confidence is a superpower. This one here. Here. Be nice to everyone. Be friends with a few. Trust one person. Of course, yourself. Before we ask other people to believe in us, to trust ourselves, what happens? If we don't trust ourselves, there's no way for them. There's no way for them to trust us without we trust ourselves. Right? Trust ourselves. Trust yourself to be the kind of self that you will be happy to live with all of your life, to be who you are. So that's so important. So that's why when we sit down, we trust ourselves that yes, we have the ability to finish the session, and after that we'll be happy, we'll be more peaceful. And the next one, equanimity is so important here. It's different. The aim of happiness, want to be happy, get frightened of losing the happiness. Right? Expectation. Unhappy when we aren't feel happy. So we are obsessed with maintaining a feeling. But here it's different. Want to see clearly, want to learn, reduce suffering, practice being consistently calm and open. I'll be able to ride the storm, to go beyond the storm, to accept rejection, to keep our mind balanced here. And this kind of storm is a quality mental calmness, composure, evenness of temper, keep our mind at a stable position. Of course, with that kind of attitude, it will be helpful for us to do meditation. And vice versa, when we do meditation, we have that kind of equanimity too. With that kind of calmness, with that kind of equilibrium, with that kind of evenness in our tempers. That's important too. And this one here, and that's one non-striving. Now, some of you know about this attitude, right? Why is non-striving so important? Look at this here. Expectation. Why? Well, expectation is a danger. You know why? I used to tell my students, whenever you walk into the room to take a test, and if you expect yourself to have an A on the test, probably you fail. In the sense that you may not get that A. You understand that? Why? Of course, it happens to many of us, or most of us. If we expect too much about the result, what happens then? Especially for the student, they be nervous. They have the kind of anxiety, right? The kind of problem that if they could not get that that good, that A. You understand that? So in our life, right, if we have some kind of expectation for our spouse, right, whichever way we expect them, but what happened? But they somehow they don't turn around that the way that we expect. We frustrate, and that kind of relationship may be fractured sooner or later. Or if you work in a business, right, of course we put some kind of goal, right? But what happens if we expect too much about the growth of our business, and if it doesn't meet with that type of goal, what happens then? We frustrate. So especially in meditation, when you sit down there and you expect, oh, after this 15 minutes, I'll be fine, I'll be calm and so forth. What happens then? We create more anxiety about ourselves. You know, right? I used to tell a story that one lady had some problem with her ankles, and she went to see a doctor, and of course she paid for a doctor visit. After she got back, the problem is still there, and she's so angry. She said the doctor is supposed to treat her ankles better, but now it gets worse. The expectation there. It gets worse in her mind and body. She said that she paid for the visit, and she expects that the doctor will cure her illness. That's not the case. You understand that? So with that kind of expectation, we have ourselves. Let's say we put the, in the past, you have the horse, right? And you see the Amish people around here. Is they around here? No, not much. Right? In Indiana, in some county like Washington, Oregon, and so forth. Sometimes I take my children, my students to visit them. You see, they still run the horse, right? The horse will still carry the cart, right? And the expectation like you put the cart in front of the horse. Is that right? The expectation and it's block your views. Make sense? So that's why in meditation, yes, you enjoy that very present moment of your life, the moment that you sit there and let go of any kind of expectation, whether it's good or bad, just accept that. That's the next one we talk about, right? If we put that expectation, if we try to have that kind of up to that expectation, we get stuck then. Here, meditation has no goal other than for you to be yourself. Remember at the beginning, I talked about the value, right? The value of our life, what we want to do for our life here on this earth. The value is different from setting expectation. Let me give one example. Let's say from your house, you drive from your house to here to this center. Yes, but you will depart from your house, and here is the destination, right? But what happened? Like this morning, I went from my temple on New Cutter to here, and on the 65 to the exit of 265. It gets stuck there with the whole traffic. Did you get that? Did you encounter that type of traffic? Yes, we got that. We encountered that kind of traffic. What happened? If we expect that we have to be rushed, have to be here on time and so forth, we have to clear the traffic for us to go. It will create more anxiety, more stress. Understand? We just go with the flow. That's the point. We know our departure place, we know our destination. When we come to the car, just go with the flow. We enjoy the moment of driving. If we expect that the road is clear for us to drive, sorry, not, it's for me. Understand that? So we can go with flow. In the traffic, that's fine. If the road is clear, that's fine too. You understand that? So that's why don't put the cart in front of the horse, right? So that's why just be with ourselves, right? Just enjoy that moment, the moment that we inhale and exhale, the moment that we sit here. Don't expect that after our session we'll be enlightened. No way. We'll be enlightened person. There's no way. Or we'll be smarter, we'll be wise and so forth. Don't expect anything. Pay attention to how you are now. However, that is just right. You enjoy this present moment. Don't try. Of course, you need to understand that somehow we have to diligently practice our meditation. You know, right? We need to set our time, right? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, so forth. That's just our effort. But still, while we sit there, let things go. Again, like I just told you, go with the flow. It's not easy. Most of us here probably take time, take years for us to understand that kind of concept, that kind of principle to apply in our life. It's not easy. What happens if we don't go with the flow? But remember, I used to say, go with the flow, but stick with your principle. You understand that? Like, yeah, our principle, we drive from our house to here, that's our principle. We keep up with that goal, right? We keep up with that principle, but go with the flow. Be flexible with the circumstances, conditions. It's not easy. Even, you know, we just have a summer camp for the children at my monastery, and some students, they feel good. Somehow they overthinking about their school, about their work and so forth. They expect themselves so much. And some students, even their parents don't expect them too much for themselves. They expect themselves to be a top, right? Top 5, top 10, whichever. Or they expect themselves to get into the elite school and so forth. They stress out a lot. So a lot of them, they may say, like, that's good for them to study hard. That's good. That's why we encourage them. But still, sometimes it's overload. It's overboard. And that's why it's better for us if we want to enjoy our life. Like just give you that example. Walk in flow. We know our destination. Just drive and go to flow. And I think some of you have read some Thich handbooks about you know, when we stop our car at the stoplight or at the light. Yeah, there's a moment that we go back to our breath again. Remind ourselves to be present with our breath again, right? Again, my point is, if we train ourselves in the way that we go with flow, but stick to our principle, our life much easy. So that's so important. Sorry, it's 2:11:20 here again. No expectation, no disappointment. Don't blame people for disappointing you. Blame yourself for expecting too much. Yeah. Okay. Let's say since this is almost 11. How about take 5 minutes of observing our breath? Okay, and after that we can come back. Okay. You like that, sister?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see, we will set up the times. You can stretch out, you can stand up and stretch. It's up to you. Yeah, you can stretch. Yeah, and we sit for an hour maybe. So we can stretch out a little bit. And we can sit 5 minutes. And after that, we will.
I know how.
Easy, right? Most of them because we get used of that, right? We expect ourselves to do this and that, to be successful, to accomplish and so forth. So it's take time. It's a time to personally train ourselves. Yeah, sometimes we break our own breaks to expectation and so forth. And there's a delay to non-struggle to allow things, anything we experience from moment to moment, just to be here, that's all. Think of how you should, or this one, be in life you are not okay with right now. To accept that. To accept whichever way, and that's the next one here. Non-struggling. You cannot stop the wave from coming, but you can learn how to surf. You cannot stop that. You cannot stop what's going on in our life. That's why, yeah, we have to go with the flow. And if you, let's say, even while you're driving on the road, on the freeway, and even if you sail your boat on the ocean, if you go against the current, it's easy for you to be capsized, right? If you go with the flow and it's more safe. Again, please, meditation has no goal other than for you to be yourself. Remember that. If you set your goal ahead of the times, that you have to be calm, have to be peaceful, it won't be peaceful for you. So just go with the flow. That's one. The last one, acceptance. We train ourselves from the breath. We accept whichever thing we have here. This physical body, with our breath, in and out, long or short, deep or shallow. This sensation around our body when we do the body scan, or when we do the walking, right? We recognize every step that we take, every movement that we have. Just accept that. And when we accept this physical body, with this mentality of feeling, it's easy for us to accept others. And otherwise, it's not easy, even when we accept ourselves. Most of the time, especially for the younger one, the teenager or the younger one, they don't recognize, they don't accept themselves as they look for some kind of celebrities, right? And when they go to school, right, if their friends give them some kind of bad comments about themselves, right? All right, so they may have some kind of depression and so forth. But for us, we have enough patience, we have enough knowledge and experience to deal with this kind of bad comments about ourselves. But still, sometimes we need to recognize us, just accept who we are, accept whichever thing happens, and move on. Of course, acceptance here doesn't mean that we give up everything. That's a different story. We try our best. Let's say, like you mentioned, right? We try our best to do things, to finish our jobs at work, right? But if our boss want to give us some kind of bonus at the end of the year, or some kind of incentive, that's their choice. Sometimes my point is, if something go beyond our ability, we can let it go. But if something within ourselves, try our best to do. It's not that we accept it, we give up, we don't do anything. It's just related to non-striving too. So that we can go beyond the acceptation. We can transform that acceptation. Here, we often waste a lot of time and energy to deny what is fact. We don't recognize most of the time we expect, right? We expect for what we call wish for the best and what?
Prepare for the worst.
Prepare for the worst. Right? So, but still, yes, sometimes, let's say, if we fail the test, if someone walk away from our life, it's not easy. It's heartbreaking, right? And have some young people, it's not easy for them to do. When they have their boyfriends and girlfriends together, they have good times, but somehow the relationship doesn't work well, so one of them walk away from each other. It's heartbreaking. It's not easy for them to accept that. But I told them, that's reality. We cannot control them. Even sometimes we cannot control our mind. Not talking about how we want to control others. There's no way. I used to tell this this story that this king, he told his queen, you know, you're so lovely, you're so beautiful. I love you so much. I love you more than my life. And so you can say, okay, yeah, I know. You love me so much. But let me tell you, let me ask you, this metaphor, this is not the real one, but let me ask you, suppose that I hang around with another man, will you still love me? They can say, no way, I chop off your head. You can the power, so I have the power. So the queen come around and say, see, this, you don't accept me. You are the one you love yourself more than me. You understand that? So if we accept, tells us in whichever way has happened to us, we can accept. Of course, we cannot control all the people. Let's relate to the non-smoking tree. Okay. So we are trying to force situation how we would like them to be, like how we want people have some kind of good impression about ourselves, especially the younger people, right? So that's why what we stress out. So that's why if you accept things as the way they are, it's more peaceful. So like when we sit down again, we just accept our breath, we just accept the way we sit, we just accept the way we walk, we just accept what's on our mind. Sometimes it's all kind of junky thing here, right? Sometimes you can say demonic thought here, right? All kind of junk here, good, bad, and so forth. Just accept them, don't fight. Especially in meditation, the more we fight with our thought, what happens? The more stressful we are, and we cannot be at peace, even within our thoughts. Sometimes we try. Oh, I cannot accept this thought. This is the ugly thought. This is the evil thought, and so forth. No, we create more problem ourselves. Okay, we see. Oh, yes, we have some kind of thought. We think about. Let's say we have some bad thought about. Okay, I recognize us. That's okay. I just let go. More peace. You understand that? It's so important. Accept this physical entities, this mentalities, whichever thing happening, and we move on much easier. Yeah, it's so related. Accept it's not passive. Does mean you have to like everything in abundance, your principle value. You accept whichever thing that go beyond your ability. You accept the thing that's happening. You accept the times that you are with your spouse, your friends, your children, and so forth. Those mean that you have to decide to tolerate it. You accept and move on. We have to try our best to solve the problem. If things go beyond, we can let it go. I said this, I'm willing to see things as the way they are, and so forth. Yeah. Acceptance. Okay, yeah. Keys to accept this willingness. You see the accept in our thought here? Yeah. Raining, shining. Sometimes, for us, if we have some outdoor meeting, yes, we like, especially in the summertime, right? We like to have some kind of shining day on it, but for the farmer, it did rain. You see, so we need to accept things that happen in our life. It's nothing that it's not easy for things that go in the way that we expect ourselves. Again, this means resignation. It means understand something is what it is. That's all. Let go again. Again, this one is important. You see the banana here? There's a story, I don't know whether you know the story, the monkey and coconut. You know about that story? Some of you, right?
No.
How many of you know that story? Okay, some of you. Let me tell you the story. So the hunter, he wanted to trap the monkeys, so he made the hole in the coconut and put some food inside there to trap the monkeys. So of course the monkeys smell some food inside the coconut food. And so he stuck his hand into that coconut food and tried to hold on the food. What happened? When he stuck his hand in, he could, right? But when he tried to hold on his food, what happened? His piece stuck. And yes, he got caught. So do we, is that right? Sometimes if you can let go, you can go in and out easily. But because of our attachment, that's why we're stuck there. Attachment of things. Acceptance, just accept, just let go, things that go beyond our control. Whether it's our spouse, our children, our boss, whoever, they have their own life, they have their own way of thinking. We cannot control them. Well, if we try to control them, that we do more harm for ourselves and others. So let's go things that go beyond ourselves, and especially in our mind, right? While we sit there, whichever thought that pop up, right? Good thought, bad thought, you let them go. And if we attach them, sometimes if you sit longer, let's say 1 hour and above, how many of you have tried to sit for more than 2 hours before? More than 2 hours? Not yet. But if you sit for that long, 2 hours and beyond, you may enter some kind of meditative state of mind, what they call jhana. And you may see all kinds of things in your vision, not with your flesh eye. You may see some kind of image, like even God image, Buddha image, you can smell some problem. You may hear some voice and so forth. And that's a problem. It's not the problems. It's just this kind of manifestation of your mind. That's why in some of Buddhist Sutra, it mentioned that whichever side, the very vision that you see in your mind, while you're sitting there, whichever sound that you may heard, when you're sitting there, whatever smell you could recognize, remember they're illusion. It's not true. Don't attach to them. Let them go. Let me give you an example. If you use your finger to press your eyeballs, what happens when you listen? You see many stars. Yeah. And so does the body. So when we sit in meditation for a while, and somehow we change our physical shape. You know what the term neuroplasticity? You know about that? When we focus our mind, the shape or the function of our brain, the nerve system of our brain will be changing in different way, of course, in positive way, most of the times. So this will affect to how we look. It will affect to our vision, our hearing skill, and so forth. That's why sometimes we will have that kind of vision. So again, the illusion. Let me tell you one story. There's a monk. He wanted to go to the holy mountain to see a great Bodhisattva. He wanted to seek for that great Bodhisattva. And somehow he could not make it. But later on, one day, of course, later on, he recognized his mind. And one day, you know, in the monastery in the past, hundreds or thousands of monks live together in a monastery. And for him, his job was cooking rice for the assembly, for the monks. So while he was cooking, you know how he cooked rice in the past. You have the big pot, and they put the rice in, and somehow later on you have to use some type of stick to stew the rice. So that will be ribbons. So while he was cooking that rice, as you know, in the smoke, that Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva that he wanted in the past to worship, appear in front of him, in front of that smoke, in that mist. And what happened? They used that stick to hit that smoke. He said, "Get out of my way!" And so the Bodhisattva appeared. He said, "Before you want to go to my mountain and worship me, so why you hit me?" So he said, "It's illusion." You understand that? Again, sometimes when we focus our minds too much in any kind of session, especially if you sit longer, you have some kind of vision. Let them go. Don't attach to them. That's a key. That's a key of meditation there, right? Yeah, we have only 10 more minutes. Again, so if we let things go with our mind, it's easy for us to let go of some kind of attachment. Yeah, so it's so important. Again, we'll talk about compassion. You heard about how compassion is so important in every condition, right? So I don't want to repeat again. It's so important why we do meditation too. If we don't have that kind of virtue, it's not easy. If we still harbor the hatred and so forth, it's not easy to calm our mind. Only when we have compassion, it's easy. It makes us to be happy, make us more attractive, make us better wildfire, get us it energizes us. It's good for our environment too. Let me go quickly with this again. Practicing mindfulness without practicing compassion is like drinking a drink without tonic. It's so important. They come hand in hand. Compassion, have compassion for all beings, live a poor life. Each have their own suffering. This in general. I like to go quickly because our times. And self-compassion too. Again, here, if your compassion does not include yourself, it's incomplete. It starts within ourselves. It's not the thing that we care for this physical body, but we need to how to understand ourselves, not to torture ourselves. Sometimes something is not go in our way, so the soul it starts with ourselves and others, and plus is be kind to ourselves. While you sit there, it is too hard. If you are so tired, you go to sleep. You go to rest. Don't press too much. At the end of the day, what do you want? You want to have a happy life. That's all. And when we're happy, we could spread that kind of happiness. When we're peaceful, we could spread that kind of peacefulness. But if we have so much anxiety in ourselves, and we talk about compassion, there's no way. That's fake. It's not real, right? So that's why it's good stuff in ourselves. And the last one, commitment. This is our goal here, our value here, and our plan. The straight line, no way. Here, right? And up to here. Commitment is an act, not a word. We have to work. We have to sit down to do meditation. We have to make some kind of commitment. We have to set up some kind of scheduling, right? For 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and so forth per day to calm our minds. So commitment is so important. That's why. And commit to action, moving in a value direction. That's what you want to do for your life. Just do that. What action will help you to reach the goal? What are barriers the barriers to commit action? What your commitment and so forth. So you have to be consistent. You have to put in action. Again, let me go back to review. This is the whole charge here. From the value, we set up some kind of value, right? Not expectation. You see the difference between the value and the expectation. The value there in our life, and we could just go with the flow based upon this kind of attitudes, right? Relaxation, present mind, nurturing, and so forth that we have on our trustful and so forth. And the last step is make commitment. So that's here. This thing I like to share with you today. I know this is not the session that we do. We sit in meditation, but we just share the knowledge. And every year we have 1 week of meditation up to quarter that we sit from 4 a.m. to 12. So that time we have more time to be sitting. Of course, it's winter time. It's still cold up there too. But of course, when we have this kind of meeting here, we share our knowledge and spend together. And I hope that my presentation today, proper attitude for doing meditation is so important. That if we have this kind of attitude, with this kind of mindset, it's much easier for us to sit, especially when we talk about non-striving and acceptance, especially these three, right? Sometimes it's not easy for us to let go of things, right? Sometimes not easy for us to judge for others, right? So before I end, any question you like to ask? Okay.
I don't know about y'all, but I really needed this today.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Reverend, for sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us. And really helping us to navigate how do we be in our meditation. Yeah, I appreciate that so much. Thank you for being here. So just a couple of reminders, if you were dropping today, if you could just drop 20 bucks in the basket on your way out, that would be wonderful. And the next session will be on July 11th, and the topic is the Great Discovery, how to rewire your brain for less stress and more joy, and that's going to be presented by Harry Pickens. So we hope to see you July 11th. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.